Commander Elena Reyes stood at the viewport of her quarters aboard the UES Leviathan, watching the swirling blue-green nebula that marked the edge of Galactic Concord territory. Her weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as she sipped her coffee, the mug bearing the faded insignia of Earth's first interstellar vessel. "Commander, we're approaching the diplomatic coordinates," her comm unit chirped. "Fantastic. Another day, another chance to watch aliens have collective aneurysms," Elena muttered, setting down her mug. "Tell me again why I'm the one playing ambassador?" Admiral Gonzalez had been quite clear during her briefing. Bring the Leviathan, one of humanity's more modest vessels, to the diplomatic gathering and make nice with the newest members of the Galactic Concord. Humanity had only joined the Interstellar Federation 3 months ago, and first impressions were still being formed. "Because," Elena said to herself, mimicking the Admiral's gravelly voice, "you have the unique ability to insult someone while making them think you've paid them a compliment." She laughed, the sound echoing against the metal walls of her quarters. Elena straightened her uniform and headed for the bridge. The corridors of the Leviathan stretched before her, bustling with crew members. It took her 15 minutes at a brisk pace to reach the command center, a fact that never failed to amuse alien visitors. "Status report," she barked as the bridge doors slid open. "All systems nominal, Commander. We've received the diplomatic protocols from the Concord representatives." There, Lieutenant Patel broke into laughter at her station. "What's so funny, Lieutenant?" "They've asked us to approach at minimum velocity to avoid intimidating the diplomatic vessels, and they've assigned us a berth that could fit maybe a quarter of our ship." Elena rolled her eyes. "Typical. They still don't believe the specs we sent them." She leaned forward in her captain's chair. "Communications, please inform our Concord friends that we'll require alternative arrangements." This would be humanity's third diplomatic function since joining the Concord, and the pattern was becoming predictable. The various alien species built small, efficient ships. Nothing over 200 meters in length was common. Conservative designs, conservative thinking, and then there was humanity, bursting onto the galactic scene with vessels that made the aliens question either their sensors or their sanity. "Visual contact established," announced the tactical officer. "We have 26 diplomatic vessels holding position at the rendezvous point." The main screen activated, showing a cluster of sleek, colorful ships arranged in what Elena assumed was some ceremonial pattern. Each vessel was elegant, beautiful even, but to human eyes, they looked like toys. "Magnification factor?" Elena asked, her mouth twitching with suppressed laughter. "Standard, Commander." "Well," she said, standing up and straightening her jacket, "let's go make some new friends. Helmsman, take us in nice and slow. Let's give them time to pick their jaws off the floor." The Leviathan, all 3 kilometers of her, began to move toward the gathering of alien ships, like a whale approaching a school of minnows. The UES Leviathan slid gracefully into view of the diplomatic gathering, its massive hull gleaming under the light of the nearby star. Aboard the Concord diplomatic vessels, the reaction was immediate and chaotic. "By the 7 moons of Kra," whispered Ambassador Zixtil of the Minrathi, his 4 eyes blinking asynchronously in disbelief. "There must be some mistake with our sensors." The Minrathi sensor technician, a junior diplomat named Vexnar, frantically recalibrated her equipment. "Ambassador, I've run 3 diagnostics. The readings are accurate. The human vessel, it's over 3 kilometers in length." Across the diplomatic channel, similar conversations were occurring as the representatives of 26 spacefaring civilizations tried to comprehend what they were seeing. The Leviathan dwarfed the largest alien vessel present, the quixotic light flagship of the Phalatian Republic, by a factor of 15. "Diplomatic channel open," Vexnar announced, her voice quavering slightly. "This is Ambassador Zixtil of the Minrathi Confluence, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Diplomatic Corps. UES Leviathan, we welcome you to the gathering." The view screen flickered to life, revealing Commander Elena Reyes seated casually in her command chair. "Ambassador, the pleasure is ours. I hope we didn't startle you too badly with our arrival." The slight upward curl of her lips told Zixtil she was fully aware of the commotion their arrival had caused. His crest fluttered in what his species recognized as a sign of embarrassment. Commander Reyes, there seems to be a discrepancy in the specifications your government provided. We were led to believe you would be arriving in a modest vessel. Elena laughed, the sound both warm and slightly mocking. Oh, but this is modest, Ambassador. The Leviathan is one of our mid-sized diplomatic cruisers. Anything smaller wouldn't have the necessary facilities to host a proper reception. The bridge crew behind her maintained professional expressions, but Zixtil could see the amused glances they exchanged. I see, said Zixtil, though he clearly didn't. Your docking instructions mentioned a crew complement of 5,542, Elena corrected, plus about 1,000 civilian specialists and diplomatic staff. We're actually running with a skeleton crew for this mission. Across the diplomatic gathering, vessels began repositioning themselves, maintaining a respectful, or perhaps fearful, distance from the human ship. The Leviathan's presence had disrupted the carefully arranged formation, like a boulder dropped into a pond of perfectly arranged lilies. Ambassador, Elena continued, I'd be honored if you and representatives from the Concord would join me aboard the Leviathan for a tour and dinner. We humans value face-to-face diplomacy. Zixtil hesitated, his inner eyelids flickering rapidly, a sign of intense thought among his species. Curiosity warred with apprehension. The human ship was an engineering anomaly by Concord standards, potentially unsafe by their reckoning, and certainly built with a philosophy that prioritized size over efficiency. Yet diplomatic protocol was clear. We would be delighted, Commander. A delegation of 7 representatives will shuttle over at the appointed time. After the communication ended, Vexnar approached her superior. Ambassador, is it wise to board their vessel? The power readings alone suggest energy usage that violates several Concord efficiency guidelines. Zixtil stared at the massive human ship through the viewport. The humans have been granted provisional membership in the Concord. We must understand them better. His voice dropped to a whisper, including why they feel the need to build vessels of such excessive proportions. Perhaps they're compensating for something, Vexnar suggested, attempting humor to ease the tension. Or preparing for something, Zixtil replied, his crest flattening against his skull. Ready my shuttle. I want to see inside this metal Leviathan before I make any judgments. As the Minrathi delegation prepared for their visit, the human ship hung in space before them, impossibly large, improbably elegant, and undeniably intimidating. The Minrathi shuttle looked absurdly small as it approached the designated landing bay of the Leviathan. Zixtil and 7 other representatives from various Concord species sat in nervous silence as they passed through the massive opening, large enough to swallow 3 of their vessels whole. Their hangar could house our entire diplomatic fleet, murmured Trilox, the Ganthian representative, his gill flaps pulsating with excitement. The shuttle touched down gently on the deck, where a small human welcoming party waited. Commander Elena Reyes stood front and center, flanked by officers in dress uniforms. As the alien delegation disembarked, Elena stepped forward. Ambassador Zixtil, welcome aboard the UES Leviathan. I trust your journey across the vast distance of 3 kilometers wasn't too taxing. Her slight upward curl of lips told Zixtil she was fully aware of the commotion their arrival had caused. His crest fluttered in what his species recognized as a sign of embarrassment. Commander Reyes, there seems to be a discrepancy in the specifications your government provided. We were led to believe you would be arriving in a modest vessel. Elena laughed, the sound both warm and slightly mocking. Oh, but this is modest, Ambassador. The Leviathan is one of our mid-sized diplomatic cruisers. Anything smaller wouldn't have the necessary facilities to host a proper reception. The bridge crew behind her maintained professional expressions, but Zixtil could see the amused glances they exchanged. Zixtil struggled to process what he was seeing. But the resources required to maintain this is not a warship or a colony ship. You said this is a diplomatic vessel. Elena's laugh had a hint of steel in it. Multi-purpose, Ambassador. The Leviathan can serve diplomatic, scientific, or defense functions as needed. The tour continued through hydroponics bays that could feed the entire crew indefinitely, medical facilities that rivaled planetary hospitals, and recreation areas that included swimming pools, actual bodies of water intentionally placed aboard a spacecraft. And this, Elena announced several hours later, is one of our 16 engine rooms.
The cavernous chamber housed a pulsating core of blue-white energy, surrounded by engineering stations where humans monitored various systems. The scale was breathtaking. 1 of 16? Zixtil's inner eyelids fluttered rapidly. What possible reason could you have for such power generation capacity? Chen stepped in, his tone diplomatic where Elena's might not have been. Our philosophy differs from Concord's standard design. We believe in redundancy, self-sufficiency, and versatility. But surely the resources could be better allocated to building multiple smaller ships, suggested the Phalasian representative. Elena's patience visibly thinned. We tried that approach during our early expansion. It didn't end well for the smaller ships. An awkward moment fell as the aliens processed the implications of her statement. Humanity's history was not well known within the Concord, but rumors of devastating interstellar conflicts in human space had circulated. The awkward moment was interrupted by Chen's communicator chirping. "Commander, we're receiving a priority transmission."